What's up, lovers of whiskey and watchers of YouTube? I'm the Malt activist, and today we do a deep dive into the beautiful world of Compass Box. Because I have with me today not one, not two, okay, this could take all day. I have six Compass Box whiskeys that I am going to talk to you about. How does that sound? Okay, I can't hold any more of these. Let's do this. As usual, before we begin, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my first time viewers. You clicked through to this thumbnail. That means you like whiskey. You want to know something more about whiskey. Well, if that's the case, then this is the channel for you, man. We do whiskey reviews and whiskey lists and whiskey rants, and we try and be honest, brutally honest. We try and save you money. We try and shield you from the horrors of the whiskey marketing world. We do the best over here that we can. So if that floats your boat, if that's your cup of tea or your dram of whiskey, then consider liking, sharing, subscribing, all of the above, none of the above. I'm just glad that you guys are here, man. To my returning viewers, you guys, thank you for keeping your standards so low. You guys are the wind beneath my wings. Now let's get this party started. So, Compass Box. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard of Compass Box. It probably means you're living under a rock if you're a whiskey drinker and you don't know about Compass Box. That's not me shaming and judging you. That's me being genuinely very surprised, because Compass Box are the top of the cream, the I don't know what's the word, the cherry on the whiskey cake. They're everything that a whiskey company needs to be. You know what I mean? Okay, so here's the deal, right? So in about the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. John Glaser, the founder of Compass Box Whiskey, in the year 2000, founded his company. And he was fresh off being the marketing director for Johnnie Walker. That's right. He was the marketing director for Johnnie Walker, and he said, you know what? If they can put together these really cool ideas to sell blended whiskey, I think I can do one better. And you know what? I agree, because he created Compass Box out of thin air. Now, Compass Box is not a distiller. They're not a distilling company. They're an independent bottling. Right? They procure casks from everywhere. They vat them and they produce from grain whiskeys, blended grain whiskeys, to vatted malts or blended malts, or to regular blended whiskeys, and everything in between. Not everything in between. That, I think that kind of sums up their portfolio. They have these main kinds of whiskeys, right? But what really sets them apart? They stand out for two reasons, right? Reason number one. Well, three reasons. Fine, three reasons. Number one, the whiskeys they make are almost always exquisite. Just the right amount of blending. The recipes are gorgeous, and they just work, and they make them work, you know? And I really, as a whiskey drinker, I always relish the thought of trying a new Compass Box. So well done on the taste criteria, on the taste benchmark. These guys are very near the top consistently. Number two, what I love about them is their creativity. That's right. They have cool names like Hedonism, or, well, that's Hedonism. Or they have cool names like Orchid House. Or they have cool names like Nectarosity. Or they have cool names like, what's this? Crimson Casks. And they have cool names like the Traveling Circus. Now, this is that, and look at their packaging, right? Look at the labeling on these bottles. It's just, I mean, look at this. They spend time and effort putting these labels together. So when you're out there in the shops looking at different types of whiskeys, how can you not be drawn to these insanely gorgeous labels, right? Which, by the way, under normal circumstances, as a cynic, these would be ringing alarm bells, right? Because I'm always like, oh man, look at these guys trying to sell shitty liquid based on really good marketing and good, cool graphic design and labels and stuff like that. That's my pet peeve. But when you back it up with stellar liquid like these guys do, then everything falls into place, and then you become an admirer. Then you become an admirer of of the effort that goes behind putting these labels, this whole marketing behind it, you know. I really appreciate that. So yes, and the third and most amazing thing that I genuinely love about Compass Box and why I hold them in such high regard is their effort for transparency in a world of murky marketing gimmicks and murky rules and regulations of this industry. Compass Box stands out like a beacon of transparency, where they're saying, yeah man, we're not gonna hide our recipes. This is what goes into this whiskey. And SWA was basically like, yo, you cannot do that, because, you know, you just can't. And they're like, well, we want to, and we are going to. And they might not openly talk about their recipes, but if you want to go to their website and check out the different expressions they have, they almost always give you literally percentage by percentage the ratio and the recipe of the whiskeys that are involved in the making of this liquid. So I really appreciate that as a no BS whiskey drinker who appreciates the greater the information, the greater the drinking experience. Just for me, that to me really sets Compass Box apart, and so I really appreciate them for that. So yes, that was a little bit about Compass Box. They already sound cool, right? If you haven't heard of them, go check them out. They're awesome. John Glazer is awesome. Yeah, I think let's do whiskeys now. Let's do the actual whiskeys. I think enough gushing over Compass Box now. Let's talk about the whiskeys. Okay, let's go to whiskey number 1. This here, I hope it's in focus. Yes. This here is called the Peat Monster. No prizes for guessing what this whiskey is all about. This whiskey is called the Peat Monster for a reason, because it is a mix of peated whiskeys. Yes, now listen, I normally sit and imbibe during my videos, but it's not even midday, and I do not fancy drinking 6 whiskeys before lunch, because that's going to ruin the rest of my day. So I've already drunk these whiskeys. By the way, we had a Compass Box tasting where we had the brand ambassador come down and talk to us about all of these whiskeys, the philosophy and everything that goes behind in the making of a Compass Box whiskey. Beautiful experience, lovely experience. If you ever get a chance to go to a Compass Box tasting, I highly recommend it. So this is what I did. I went because I organized these tastings with my whiskey club, Malt Society Arabia. We had these bottles left over, and I said, I'm going to take these back and I need to share them with the world, which is why you see they're kind of almost gone. But I managed to snag a few drams right at the end. I told everybody they're finished, and fuck off. Nobody's getting any more, because I needed to share them with you, right? So here we are, whiskey number 1. The Peat Monster. Now we have to run through these rather quickly because there's 6 whiskeys to go through. I might do like a more extended video on one of these whiskeys later on, but just to talk about these whiskeys today, we're going to rush through. We're going to take about a few minutes for each whiskey. So what do we know about the Peat Monster? It was released in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. It's part of the core range, and it uses, now I have everything written down, right? Because I have this tendency to say shit without really knowing it, and then I almost always get caught out. So I have everything written down now. So here it is. Now this is released in 2003 for the first time. It's part of the core range. It's a fantastic peated dram made up of Lefroy, Kalela, and Leitcheg, among other whiskeys. Mainly Islay whiskeys. Leitcheg, of course, from the Isle of Mull, from the Tobermory distillery. Yes, so again, very smoky, peaty flavor profile. Also, by the way, what I love, goes without saying for all Compass Box whiskeys, they're all non-chill filtered, no coloring added, and this one's bottled at 46%. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, almost all their whiskeys are at least 46%, if not more. This is a bigger one. So 46% I believe is their minimum ABV. So you know what? Ticking all the right boxes as usual. So Compass Box, a winner there. The Peat Monster, available for about between 60 and 75 dollars, US dollars. And let's do smoking. Oh, let's do smoking notes. Let's do tasting notes. Right, where did it go? Where did I keep it? Oh, there it is. Let's do tasting notes. Right on the nose, bonfire, iodine, lots of brine, toasted vanilla. On the palate, there's this ashy peat, lemon zest, there's a malty sweetness to it, and rounded off by the oak. The finish is long and it's smoky with a very herbal and earthy tone to it. Yes. Everything that I've said is 100% true. No, I've drunk this, I made my notes, you know, I sat down while we were doing the tasting, I sat down, I made my notes, and so I know what's inside here. So, Compass Box, the Peat Monster, beautiful label. I hope you can see it. I hope it's in focus. Beautiful label. Very, very nice whiskey. I believe almost every one of these whiskeys has some literature at the back, which I really, really like. I won't read through every single one because it's going to take ages, right? So my first whiskey, the Peat Monster. Find it, buy it, drink it. Our second whiskey here is called Nectarosity. Check this out. That's right. I hope it's in focus. I hope you can see what I'm holding up. This whiskey is called Nectarosity, and like the Peat Monster, we knew Peat Monster was going to be peaty. This we know is going to be sweet and sweet, and with a little bit of sweetness and some sweet to it. Yes, the Nectarosity. It says it's a blended Scotch whiskey. Of course, it's a Scotch whiskey, and essentially primarily made from two main distilleries, so Glenlossie and Linkwood, using sherried casks. What do we know about this? It says the process. Special American oak barrels are deployed twice. First to impart sweet spice to grain spirit, which finishes maturing in other casks. Once prepared, the barrels age malt whiskey. We expertly blend these two characterful whiskeys. Okay, whatever, man. The literature's on the back. This is called Nectarosity, essentially from Glenlossie and Linkwood. I think those are the main single malts in there. This also has grain whiskey, so this is a regular blended whiskey. It says it has an emphasis on first fill sherry butts and recharred barrels. So the two cask profiles that they were talking about. This will probably set you back about 120 to 150 US dollars. And tasting notes, we have on the nose, we have butterscotch, dried apricots, creme brulee, and stewed fruit. Yes, I was right. The palate, very, very nice honey, orange marmalade, or as my friend Puneet would like to say, breakfast marmalade. Hazelnuts with a very silky mouthfeel, and on the finish, I get some warming spice and a lingering toffee sweetness. Look at this, and this is bottled at 46% ABV, and as I mentioned before, this is non-chill filtered natural color. Oh, I love it. Yes, Nectarosity. Check out this really, really cool label. It has a multi-layer cake sitting in the middle of it. That's a slice has been cut out of it. So, yeah, cool whiskey. Get it. Our third whiskey is called Crimson Casks. Look at this. What a great label this is, man. It says sherried, spicy, and intense on it, and there seems to be this Viking kind of guy with a cutout from a barrel, which is really cool. It says blended malt Scotch whiskey. So this is a vatted malt or a blended malt, which means there is no grain whiskey in this. What do we know about this? This is released. This was released in 2023. It is a limited release apparently, and inspired by deep sherry influence and bold structure. That's just the regular marketing. So all single malts, and I think it has Glenmoray, Balmenach in here, and sort of blended together. Maybe some more. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe some more. It doesn't say over here, but I think, you know, if you do just a little bit of research, more digging than I have, then you'll have even more information. But yes, Glenmorangie and Balmanac, I think, are the primary whiskies in this. This is essentially a mix of first and refill sherry barrels. It says dominates this blend, so maybe there's some bourbon in here as well, but majority of it, you know, if it's called Crimson Casks, yeah. If it's called Crimson Casks, it probably means that it's massively sherry influenced. Again, slightly on the pricier side, you'll get this for between 130 and 160 USD, depending where you look. On the nose, let's do tasting notes real quick. On the nose, red berries, dark chocolate, fig jam maybe, and leather. So very typical sherry influenced whiskey. Palate is really nice, kind of full bodied. It has plum, maybe a spice plum, cinnamon, raisins, some type of cake, maybe like a rum cake or a raisin cake, you know, very sherry inspired. And nice medium to long finish, a bit of tannins right at the end, a bit drying, and some fruits as well. So exactly what you'd expect from a sherry forward whiskey. And again, you know, bottled at 46% ABV, non-chill filtered, natural color, everything good about this whiskey. Find it, buy it, drink it. Compass Box Crimson Casks. Whiskey number 4 is Hedonism. That's right. Now, Hedonism is a cult classic. And I'll tell you why it's a cult classic, because it is one of the first whiskeys that Compass Box released back in the year 2000. And it is a full grain whiskey. It says blended grain whiskey. That means it is only grain whiskey. Very cool. I think grain has a bad rep as just being a filler whiskey, but if done expertly the way John does, then you can find something amazing out of that as well. So now this is part of the Extinct Blends Quartet, Delos, and it pays homage to the first ever Hedonism ever released, which is back in the year 2000. And essentially what it tries to do is it tries to celebrate the lost character of older grain whiskeys. Now, I don't know how old the whiskeys in here are, but I do know that they are from Cameron Bridge, Port Dundas, and North British, among others. So yes, very sort of a flagship expression from Compass Box, received rave reviews when it came out, you know, because nobody really ever marketed blended grain whiskeys the way they did. And so well done to them. Again, bottled at 46% ABV, essentially matured in American oak barrels and rejuvenated hogsheads. So very bourbon matured. Tasting notes on the nose: coconut cream, vanilla fudge, and some floral notes. The palate is nice and soft, as you would expect from a grain whiskey, with creme anglaise, dried banana, and almond. And finally, a very nice, gentle, oaky finish with hints of spice and vanilla. So exactly what you'd expect from... My God, that creme anglaise is so strong, it's not even funny. Yes, I'm absolutely right. Try this. Hedonism blended grain whiskey. Wow. Really, oh my God, that coconut cream, that's not going anywhere. Love it. Oh, and this is quite expensive now. I believe these new ones are going for about between $300 to $400 US. Yeah, I know. It is what it is. I'm not setting the prices. I'm just sharing them with you. Okay, find it. And if you can buy it, but definitely drink it. Whiskey number 5 is the Orchard House. Check this out. What a beautiful label. There's so many fruits. You know exactly what you're going to get. Orchard House. I know this is all about apples and peaches and stone fruit and everything in between. Everything that grows in a nice orchard. What was I thinking? This is amazing. And this says a blended malt, so no grain whiskey in here, only single malt whiskeys. Also bottled at 46% ABV. What do we know about this? This was part of the core range, released back in 2021, created as a fruit forward, very light and accessible daily dram. Yeah, I don't mind this being my daily dram. I'd happily drink this on a daily basis. In terms of the whiskeys inside, it says Linkwood, Kleinlich, and some Kalila in there. So a nice sort of blend of different flavor profiles coming together to make this Orchard House. Essentially, and the maturation, more or less first fill bourbon casks. That's what I know. Also on the slightly cheaper side, so you can get it for about between 55 to 65 US dollars, depending on where you look. Tasting notes: fresh green apples, of course. Look at this color; it is fresh green apples. Pear and lemon zest, everything you'd expect from an orchard. It says juicy orchard fruits on the palate, vanilla custard, light floral tones. And for the finish, it's short to medium in my opinion, quite refreshing, fairly crisp, what you would expect from a whiskey of this flavor profile. So again, very, very nice. Probably not my favorite of the lot, but again, a very, very good drinking experience. And it's an everyday sipper. I don't mind this being an everyday sipper. So, and yeah, 46% ABV, non-chill filtered, no color added, and doing all the right things. Yes, I'm very happy. I'm happy about this whiskey. Yes, I'm very happy about this whiskey. Find it, buy it, drink it. And finally, the last but definitely not the least, we're talking Traveling Circus, our most expensive whiskey of this afternoon. Now, it has some really, really nice, I'm going to read off this, by the way. It has some really, really nice literature right at the back. What do we know about the Traveling Circus? Released in 2016, and it was essentially inspired by the idea of blending old vats, holding secrets of whiskey past. Very, very marketing. Yeah, it's okay. What do we know about this? It's a mix of blended Scotch whiskey and blended grain whiskey from Solera style cask. What is really cool is that they have the full literature in the back. It tells you the exact recipe, which I really, really like. So I'm going to run through this very, very quickly, right? There's one that says distillery near the town of Aberlour. It has first fill Oloroso sherry seasoned butts at 29.1%. Kalila, first fill bourbon at 7.3%. Port Dundas refill sherry butt 23.9%. Talisker recharred American hogsheads at 19.1%. It says blended Scotch parcels, primarily sherry butts at 9%, and another blended Scotch parcel, primarily first fill bourbon barrels at 11.6%. So this is an eclectic mix of a lot of whiskies from around Scotland, as well as some sort of blended batches that they would have got, which is very interesting. So the entire recipe kind of really isn't there because there's two blended Scotch parcels, whatever that means. This is bottled at 49% ABV, so the highest ABV off the lot. The rest were all 46 to 49% ABV. Loving the label. That's a gorgeous label over here. It says opulent whiskey here. This very, very expensive in my opinion, between $500 to $600 depending where you find it, hopefully if you can find it. And it says long aged refilled sherry butts and barrels from marrying casks. I don't know what that means. Tasting notes, yes, so I get a lot of wood on the nose, tobacco leaf, old leather, dried apricots, yes. On the palate, nice sherry depth, red fruits, polished oak, some hints of varnish, I think, and nice long finish. I like it's almost like cognac meeting Scotch, if you know what I mean. So very interesting whiskey this. I really like it. One of the more expensive ones, and I think it shows good. It kind of tasted the best that evening. So yeah, the Compass Box Traveling Circus. Find it, buy it, drink it. Yeah, definitely. Good whiskey this. I like it. All right, finally made it to the end of our marathon whiskey run. And normally what I would do is I would rate these whiskeys like, oh, this is a 6.5 out of 10 because, you know, I'm so cool. But no, I'm going to rate them a little differently. I like all of them. I don't want to cheapen the atmosphere by giving them rankings like as if I'm objectifying them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to classify them in this order. Right. My best everyday sipper, definitely the Orchard House. For the peat lovers, the Peat Monster. Probably the more luxurious one would be the Circus or the Traveling Circus. If you like dessert and you want a dessert dram, then the Nectarosity for sure. If you're a collector, definitely get your hands on the Hedonism, the Delos. And of course, if you're a sherried man and you love sherried whiskeys, then the Crimson Cask is the one for you. That's right. We did it. We made our way to the end of this monstrously long video. And yes, happy to be here. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you can go out and buy yourselves as many of these compass boxes as you can, because you'll be doing yourself a favor. Believe me. Find them, buy them, drink them. Okay? Let me sign off with what I think is the best label of the lot is the Crimson Cask label. To me, that is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for being a part of my life. You guys are awesome. I'm the Malt activist. Until next time, peace.